Ooh, you know what time it is!
Give me a hell yeah.
Ooh, you know what time it is!
Last side. Last side.
No regard for human life. Ah! Ah! Turn the fucking jets on! Turn the fucking jets on! fucking jets on! Turn the fucking jets on! Turn them fucking Jets on. Turn them fucking Jets on.
Arm the laser.
I'm in the laser! Begin laser ignition!
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know. Deuce and Mo.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know.
Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings, it's my favorite show. Do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Hey. Do it for Deuce and Mo. When it comes to the Kings. Big hopes and dreams as we cover our kings. Never cover the kingdom, but we loving our kings. And we covered your prayers as we doing our thing. Big Deuce with the par, Lil Mo on the screen. Solo or together, still do it for team. Never switch up for $1 or revenue stream. So we always got each other, balance out the beam. Deuce and Mo, and that's the end of the thing. So do it for Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo.
We are live! Oh, 7 in a row. Tomorrow, the Kings are going for the Chris Jericho, the Ocho. How we doing, Night Chats? Let's make some noise.
What up, Deuce?
Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, Morgan.
Hello.
I'm rooting for y'all.
But how about the Sacramento Kings? 7 in a row. First time since 04. Oh, it feels so good to be live. The beam is lit. Or is it?
Two things.
Yeah?
Door was annoying, 1. 2, does your audio sound weird to anyone else?
I hope not. Does my audio sound weird to anyone else in the chat? Morgan thinks it sounds weird. I think I sound perfect. A lot of people saying it sounds lit because you said lit. You've made lit popular again.
Oh, everyone says it sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, then
What's
we're
it
good.
sound like to you? I'm just curious.
Wait, what?
What's it sound like to you?
It sounds like this, like you're a serial killer trying to cover up your voice.
Okay, how about this? How about you click out and come back in?
Oh, I'm fine like this. I think it sounds better because then it's like I don't get it's honestly your voice isn't as annoying right now, so it's good.
You're hilarious, Morgan. You're hilarious. I'm just getting everything.
You fixed it. You fixed it.
I didn't do anything. Literally did not do a thing.
I'm trying it must be the 7-game win streak magic.
Hell yes. I'm just trying to get Twitter Spaces lined up because that's the only way for call-ins tonight because Morgan is in San Francisco, so we can't use Discord because she won't be able to hear it. So Night Chat, Kings.
A quick Instagram post.
1 7 in a row.
There we go. Come on. Instagram.
Okay. How are we doing tonight? It is so good for us to be live after another win. What are you doing over there? Morgan's in San Francisco, staying overnight because the Kings are in a second night of a back-to-back, so she'll be hosting again tomorrow for Kings and Hawks. But Morgan.
Yeah.
It's been a long time since we've done a night chat after a loss. It's been a while.
I know. I don't even know what that's like right now.
When was the last time the Kings actually lost a game? What month was that? It was November 7th.
Okay.
Morgan, that was 15 days ago.
Dude,
can we just appreciate this for a second? We know there was almost an epic collapse in front of us, but can we just take a few seconds and just drink this in that the Kings, this team, the 2022-23 Kings have made some Kings history. The first 7-game win streak since 2004? And they did it on the road against the Memphis Grizzlies? Oh,
It's
Wow.
pretty, Deuce. I'm like, I don't know. It's hard. Even my my producer and my boss, Cassine, he was like, when we were starting the postgame show, he was like, all right, you can start with, this is the hottest team in the NBA.
It is.
And it felt weird even trying to say that. And so I was like, I'm gonna wait to start with that. But then I ended up asking Matt Barnes about being one of the hottest teams in the NBA.
This is big time, Morgan. This is fun.
I know.
They've won 10 of 12.
When can we talk about it?
We can, but I can't start a night chat until I tell the people watching us live on Twitch and YouTube, we appreciate you. But also, we have to tell people, if you're here in the YouTube chat, the biggest thing you can help us out with right here, the easiest thing you can do is hit the thumbs up button and subscribe. Our chase is on for 10,000 subs. The Kings have won 7 in a row. Let's get to 10,000 subs. Let's get the likes up. We've got closing in on 700 people watching us live on a Tuesday night as it's Thanksgiving week. So let's get it going. Hit the thumbs up and let's have some fun tonight. Also, you know what else we have to do?
What?
Morgan, give the people what they want. The Kings have won 7 in a row.
Do it.
That's your cue. Well, give the people what they want, Morgan.
I am in a hotel room.
I don't care. It's 8:42, and San Francisco, those losers in San Francisco who root for that poverty team, the Golden State Warriors, need to know that the laser is lit 90 miles away in beautiful downtown Sacramento, and it's only lit if we get the initiation from Morgan Reagan.
Fire the laser!
Yes! Yes! Also, it's time for a little roll call before we get started. Let's give some love to the people watching us live, including one of the OGs, Steven Brown's in the house with Adam, Marcus, People, Don, James, Arcos, Ghost, King Louie. We've got Sean. We've got Neil. Oh, how about Karen in the house with Ruckus? Ragnarok. Michelle is in the building with Aaron. We got Spectre. We got Reed. We got Plug Media, Raver, Larry, James, Moshi. What's up, Gare Bear? Eli's in the building with Andreas, Jets, Aldrin J. We got Ricky Ruiz, Boise. Be simulated and be well, hanging out together side by side, basking in the fact that the Kings have won 7 in a row. Shout out to Jason, these kids in Sacktown, Frank, Patrick, Steve Nash. Is it that Steve Nash? It probably is. He's feeling good. Primo, J-Rock. We got Joe, who donated $15 of Australian money. The city needs to watch that power bill light the beam, he says. Shout out to Kenneth for donating 50 subs. CTM is here. Keychan, CJ, Delivery Joe. We keep it rolling. Let's get it started.
Give me a hell yeah.
Do some Mo coming down. 3, 2, 1. Hit my music.
Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.
Hey, welcome into the Deuce and Mo podcast. You knew the Kings weren't going to make it easy, right? But they got the job done at the Grindhouse. They go to Memphis and hang on for a 113-109 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies at the start of this 3-game road trip, and it's significant. The Kings have the longest win streak in the NBA. They've won 7 straight. They've won 10 of 12. Oh, and we are live talking about it on a Tuesday night. I'm Deuce Mason from Sacramento. Morgan Reagan joining us live from San Francisco, where she just wrapped up hosting Kings pre- and post-game live with the one and only Matt Barnes. Morgan's staying in the city tonight. She's hosting again tomorrow because the Kings are in a second night of a back-to-back, taking on the Hawks. We have a lot to go over on tonight's podcast. Morgan, how the hell are you tonight?
I'm just so happy. I'm fantastic. I don't think I have felt like this for a very long time. And I will say that again. It's crazy to think that an NBA team can dictate my emotions and
they definitely do.
My life. And I'm okay with that, especially when I get to feel this. This is why you stick through all the bad, because this feels so good. And it doesn't matter, Deuce. It's not, I'm not getting too high on this either. I'm not one of those people that's just like, it's gonna keep going up. You're gonna win every game now, undefeated from here on out. I'm realistic because no matter what, it's what we're seeing from the growth of these players in this team, in this organization, is absolutely fantastic in this little amount of time.
Well, it got a little crazy at the end, right? And I think something I said on my WebEx hit on NBC Sports tonight was, I'd much rather learn from a win than learn from a loss. And there's things that you can learn from every game, right? Last game, we were talking about the defense. Like, you play defense like that, it's not going to work. I think tonight the takeaway is, all right, you've closed games really well this year. Tonight was a bad example of closing, and you escaped a bit tonight. But they were able to escape because of what happened in the third quarter. It's because of how they came out in the third quarter. And I think that's where I start with, and we'll go over the fourth quarter. But to me, Morgan, like, last game, I went back and watched every defensive possession against the Pistons, and the amount of breakdowns I saw, the Kings did not play their typical game. It's a team that's done a very good job, number one in defensive rebounding, doing a great job with second chance points. They were doing much better defensively at times, although not perfect. There were some just fundamental miscommunications that they messed up against the Pistons. And tonight, it was a much better effort from the start, specifically the third quarter. The Kings got after it in the third quarter, and their defense, I think their defensive performance in the third quarter was their best defensive performance of the season. I thought they were outstanding. What do you think? What jumped out to you about that third quarter?
You keep saying that about their third quarter. I saw your tweet about their third quarter, and I can tell you what stood out to me, but you are saying that statement with so much confidence. What was it about their defense that looked so special to you in their third quarter that makes you use that statement?
Memphis is a physical team. And I know Ja got his later. I thought they did a good job on Ja. They were getting their hands. They were being on the ball. They were being disruptive. They forced 5 turnovers in that third quarter. They had 3 steals in that third quarter. They were everywhere. And honestly, they probably should have been up more. But outside of Huerter, Barnes, and Fox, nobody could hit a 3 tonight. Those guys carried them. They hit 13 of the Kings' 15 3-pointers in the game tonight. Kings missed a ton of wide open looks that I thought could have been like backbreakers in that moment. But they got after it. They were physical. They were engaged. They were making the right plays. They were rotating well. They're communicating well. They were doing kind of everything they did not do against the Pistons. And that's how they were able to have that lead going into the fourth.
What I liked about that third quarter and everything that you were saying about how good their defense looked, I feel like it didn't look chaotic. Like, it looked very under control in the way that they were trusting each other. They made those adjustments from what they weren't doing in that first half. Especially, you saw times that there were still guys in the wrong places, or, you know, not putting enough perimeter pressure on and allowing some of their bigger guys have to deal with so much more in that second line of defense. So it was really nice to see them kind of put all that aside, figure it out in the third quarter, whatever the message was at the half. I'm just so glad that they actually bought into it. And you're exactly right. If they didn't have that type of third quarter, then everything that they screwed up in the fourth, it would have ended in a loss.
I'm just floored by the fact that this team is 10-6 after an 0-4 start. 7 in a row for the first time since November 2004.
Deuce, and really quick, just going off of that 0-4 start, I think you and I might have talked about this off camera, and we talked about how they had to deal with that adversity early and how that might have been one of the best things for them to deal with early on, where sometimes it could be one of the worst things. You know, you start off bad and then everything just keeps going downhill. But them having to deal with that and having to actually grow off of those losses. You saw what they were doing in preseason. Obviously, they weren't playing these teams with the roster that some of these teams were going to go into the regular season with. So they were finding their wins, they were finding their grooves. And then when everything was thrown at them all at once with the NBA regular season, it was like, okay, how can we adjust and even grow more off of these losses?
The Kings held the Grizzlies in the third quarter to 17 points. So they outscored them 24-17. It felt like it should have been more. The Grizzlies ended up with 18 turnovers in the game. Sacramento had 20 turnovers, and it's not often you can have 20 turnovers on the road and win a game. That's another shocking stat in this one. They didn't shoot great all night. They missed a lot of looks. They got going really. Was it in the third quarter? Let me double check here. I have so many windows open right now. So what's crazy about that third quarter I'm looking at?
Yeah.
They got it going in the second. They shot 68% in the second quarter. In the third quarter, when they held them in the check, the Kings shot 32%.
Wow.
But they held Memphis to 29, and Memphis was 1 of 8 from 3. So I don't know. I was just really encouraged by what I saw there. I think that the biggest issue, though, was what happened at the end of the game. Harrison Barnes hits a 3 that puts him up 12. Here's how that sounded from G-Man.
Ball fake inside, hands to Huerter, sets a screen. Kevin rolls to his left, looks and finds Fox, swings quickly to Barnes, quick release for 3. He's got the triple. Harrison Barnes has knocked down a season-high 4 3-pointers tonight, and the Kings have got that lead back to a dozen at 102-90.
It was 102-90 at the 4:08 mark. This thing felt pretty good. Just hang on.
Really good.
Morgan, hang on to the ball. You score a couple of points, it's over. I even texted Morgan at one point. I'm like, hey, Morgan, do you realize that the Kings' season low in points allowed is 108? I think they're going to be able to hold them under that. Memphis ends up getting to 109. What was the biggest reason you think they kind of fell apart late in that game? What stood out to you? Was it Memphis's physicality? Were they panicked? What jumped out to you about the Kings' finish?
Well, and a couple of things, and I'll answer that too, but a couple of things that you're going off. You talked about the team with 20 turnovers. You were texting me about that too. 9 of those were coming in the fourth quarter. So It was it's crazy to see how they were playing. And then now going into that crunch time and what was happening, obviously they weren't taking care of the ball, but you're right, Deuce, the physicality of the Grizzlies, it just went up like 4 notches. And there was times where I thought the officials could have called a foul, but they were setting the tone like, we're going to remain this physical the rest of the games. So you're going to have to call fouls the rest of the games if that's the way that you want this one to go. I think they did a great job of just picking up the intensity, but then also the Kings, they didn't keep playing their game. They were trying to dribble out the clock. They were trying to play slow. They were playing a little scared, a little bit more timid. I think the crowd was getting into it, and that was also affecting them. All these little things were affecting them there at the end. You saw some of those passes, some of those turnovers there with Monk just tossing it over to Fox and Fox not being able to catch it. And then another one just baseline out of bounds. They're trying to get it in the backcourt. There were so many dumb little mistakes, and no one was paying attention to detail at the end of that game, which was really confusing. But you mentioned it, Harrison Barnes, he was huge in crunch time. He had some huge free throws, and every time they passed him the ball, you could feel like this sign of relief from everyone, because they were like, we trust our vet, we trust our guy. And that's what Harrison Barnes is really good at doing.
Wait, are you talking about the same Harrison Barnes that people were saying he was done? Is that the guy you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure. The guy who, in back-to-back games, has been monstrous for the Kings. He had 26 points tonight. He made all of his free throws. He was 8 of 8 from the line. He hit some big threes in the fourth. He was 4 of 8 from downtown, 7 of 13. Biggest disappointment with him, he did have some turnovers that you didn't love. He had 5 turnovers, but HB has been money. And you're right, kind of his veteran presence, that calm. You're like, okay, he's going to knock down some free throws here. I just felt like they did panic a little bit. It's like, look, you have to handle pressure a little bit in those situations. Breaking news, when a team is trying to make a run, they're going to get into you. They're going to try to trap you. They're going to try to force you into some tough decisions. You can't be confused when a double team comes your way. You have to remain calm and not throw the ball. I mean, I just could not believe some of the passes they were making for a team that I think is a pretty smart basketball team. But I feel like there's been a couple times this season in games where you're like, are you guys scared of the moment right now? Like, you're up. Just play the game.
There were times that it felt like that at the end, right? That panic came over them. But you mentioned, too, the double teams that were being thrown at guys. Grizzlies, fantastic job throwing a double team at Sabonis so many times, understanding when and where he was going to turn, what shoulder was going to turn as soon as they threw it into him down in the post. I mean, they took away his vision. They took away the guy that controls so much and commands so much of that offense, which I just thought was such a smart decision by the Grizzlies coaching staff. But yeah, at the end, really, it was just they picked up their intensity and physicality when they were throwing doubles at guys, even getting in their way and maybe even slapping at their arms a few times. But at the same time, you got to make sure you're staying strong, elbows up, battle through it.
The one guy that they could not stop was De'Aaron Fox.
Now he drives. He goes to the hammer. Misses it. Rebound. Harrison Barnes in traffic. Clears. Gives it up to Fox. Skips along with the dribble. Hesitates. Crossover move. Accelerates in the paint. Lenient 10-footer. He's got the bucket. And De'Aaron Fox has another 30-point ball game. It's the 6th time this season that the Fox has gone for 30 or more. 104-93.
De'Aaron Fox, another 30-point game. G-Man mentioned his 6th 30-plus point game this year. He did that 12 times all of last year. De'Aaron Fox tonight, 32 points. He had 8 rebounds, 6 assists on 11 of 21 shooting. He hit 5 of 8 from downtown. He was 5 of 6 from the line. He also had 4 steals and just 1 turnover. What jumped out to you about Fox?
I really think it was what he was doing on the defensive end. You saw times when he was staying vertical with guys when they would take him to the paint. You saw times his hands were in the passing lanes, just being super aggressive, locked in defensively, understanding what he needed to do on that floor on such a different level. Just the effort was there all night from De'Aaron Fox on that end of the floor. And then this guy said it the other night. I wish I had the quote right in front of me. I can take any shot anywhere, anytime, or some shit, like something along those lines.
Something to those lines. Yeah, I can get to my spot anytime I want. Yeah.
Yeah. And he's right. He can get to his spots now, and he is executing those shots, finishing those shots. Where last year I turned to Matt Barnes and I was like, he's not making that floater last year. Like there's something where it just wasn't coming off of his fingertips with confidence, or he was second guessing his shot. His shot selection is incredible, but it's not only the way that he's getting to his spots in the mid-range game and then obviously at the rack. Some of those threes he hit tonight, I mean, were just absolutely incredible.
That cross and 3 he had was disgusting. Like, I'm like, wait, De'Aaron Fox is doing this now? What, is Morgan picking up her hotel phone? Would you just get complained on?
I think we're good.
What'd they say?
No, I had someone call earlier and was just asking about a late checkout. And then I don't know why. Again, I must be popular here. I don't know.
Apparently they're not watching the pod, or they want to talk about the win.
Do you want me to go tell them to turn on the pod?
Yeah. Or if they have thoughts on Fox. Anyway, that crossover and 3 he had was disgusting. I mean, I just gave you his overall numbers. You want his second half numbers?
Do it.
20 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 4 of 5 from 3. He had a lot to prove this year. I think a lot of people were kind of down on him after his year last season, his 5th year. The Kings not winning, right? All these things coming into play. And then you saw these like lists come out over the offseason with like the top players under 25. Fox isn't getting talked about, right? Fox isn't really being talked about at all. De'Aaron Fox is going to be talked about now because he is playing at an all-star level. He's playing at an elite level right now, and his team is winning. They're 10-6, Morgan.
that's what's so cool about this, Deuce, is that in the beginning when they were 0-4 and Fox was still dominating, we're like, okay, but they're not translating into wins, so let's just keep our cool. They're freaking winning. They're winning at a high level. They are playing good basketball. And that's the thing. It's not only like, oh, it's De'Aaron Fox and the rest of the team. De'Aaron Fox is playing like an all-star, and it's just elevating the rest of the team. This is how good basketball should be played. I'm just so glad that he is developing into this player. I don't care that it's taking him all the way into his 6th season. That's what so many people just don't understand, that people develop differently in the league. And sometimes it's not about just them and their bodies. It's about having the right people around you, not only roster wise, but obviously coaches teaching you how to play the game the right way too.
Another guy who was big tonight for the Kings, Kevin Huerter, had 18 points, 6 of 10 shooting, 4 of 7 from downtown for Red Velvets.
Deuce, he's been solid, and I'm so excited. I know we'll talk about the game that's coming up against the Atlanta Hawks and it being the Kevin Huerter revenge game. But tonight, just having another solid performance from him makes me so encouraged to what he really means on this team, especially as an outside threat, especially in that 2-man game, and especially as someone who understands how to move without the basketball. There's going to be times when you're going to see injuries play a part as we continue into this long season, and you're going to have to see other guys really step up in those leadership roles. And I feel so much confidence in Kevin Huerter.
He's been big. He's been so big for this team this year, and I feel like we talk about him after every game pretty much. Like the starters have played pretty well for the most part. I think the one, again, who's kind of in a funk right now since coming back from that back injury is Keegan Murray. He was 1 of 8 tonight, 0 of 4 from 3. At one point, Mike Brown called a timeout after Keegan had a bad defensive breakdown, led to a Conchar open 3. He called a timeout, went right up to Keegan, and was explaining to him, like, this has to be better, whatever, breaking down whatever he needed to break down. But I felt like some of the shots he got tonight were great looks, outstanding looks, and some of them went in and out. You have to think those shots are going to start dropping, and I think he's at the point right now he needs to see the ball go in.
Yeah, and when here's my thing: when you need to see the ball go in, you hear people talk about, okay, try to make things happen on the defensive end, let your game come to you. Okay, sure. There's times he stays vertical. He has a good defensive possession, whatever. I saw 2 different plays tonight when he was driving it to the paint, and he just was really soft with his layup, trying to go high off the glass, both times getting blocked or stripped. And it was just slow, soft, not assertive. And we've seen how aggressive he can be. I know it doesn't show it in his body language all the time, but we've seen those moments happen. And right now you're just seeing him not doing it with authority. And that's just something that needs to change if he wants all the other things to start coming into place.
I wonder how much the back is still bugging him still. You know what I mean? Like, and again, he's playing, so must not be that bad, but I don't know. Could that have something to do with it too? I don't know.
Sure. I mean, we talked about this the other night. Back injuries, they linger. And even if he's trying to be careful with it, or if it's just affecting his athletic ability, like, he should either make sure that he's 100% because it's not worth pushing through. There's other guys that can step up, or he just needs to change little things about his game to get confidence going, to make sure that he can still add for his squad.
Yeah, and I doubt that Keegan had very many games last year at Iowa where he was 1 of 8 in a game, right, and struggling and just missing open looks. So as much as we've credited him for not getting too high or low during a game, well, now he's feeling some lows, and I do feel like maybe it's taken him out of some of the stuff defensively, where I felt like he was a plus for them defensively, team defense-wise, at the beginning of the season. But lately, he's had a lot more breakdowns. So I don't know. I mean, he's also a rookie. I'm not panicked by it at all. I think he he needs to just see the ball going. And some of the looks he's getting are great. He had one late that just went in and out. You're like, God, how'd that one not go? So I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I'm definitely with you on that. I'm just, everything's so fun right now that I hope it's sooner than later. It's not during the bad times that he starts to get things rolling. It's during the good times so he can also celebrate and feel good about his individual performance as well.
What else jumped out to you about this Kings victory tonight?
Let's see. I was shocked that the Kings had the lead at the half.
Dude, because I didn't feel like they were playing well.
It did not feel like they were playing well. And I know there's so many people that can say, look, Ja Morant wasn't 100%. Look how quickly he's coming back from his ankle sprain.
Sure.
Right.
Well, he played tonight, so I don't want to hear it. You played. He was good enough to come back and play.
That's what I was going to say. It's like, well, he was out there. And not only was he out there, he still dominated. He was still a force in so many different ways.
He was late. I honestly think the Kings did a good job on him earlier. They were blitzing him. Even on some of the drives, they were sending help that they were causing deflections early. I thought early on they did a really good job.
You're absolutely right. And that's part of the reason why they were up in that first half, truly, because of the way that they were defending him and their point of emphasis on his game and his ability to get to the rack. They were putting that perimeter pressure on. It's like he also didn't look right. There was times where usually you see this guy fly, and it wasn't until that fourth quarter in crunch time where he really started flying, controlling his body to another level. So I was really proud to see the Kings grind that one out and battle through, even in that first half when things were not pretty, but they also limited the Memphis Grizzlies to only 6 offensive rebounds. So it was nice to see that. Well, that was in the first half, and then 13, I believe, altogether. So that was nice to see too, because obviously the Grizzlies are the #1 offensive rebounding team in the league.
And granted, second chance points, and they had 11, which isn't bad.
Yep, right, which isn't bad for them.
Yeah.
So I just feel like they came in understanding what the Grizzlies are about and did a really good job of just playing their game while slowing down the Grizzlies and what they're good at.
I think the thing I like about tonight, the second quarter, they had the lead at half because they got the offense going and shots started to fall, right? And that's with this team. They're going to be a good offensive team, right? I mean, they scored 113 tonight, and that's kind of low for them this year. It's like, oh, are they okay? 113? But I mentioned this earlier. They shot 68% in the second quarter. They're 15 of 22, 4 of 7 from 3. That's what got them back in the game, the elite shooting. And then the third quarter, it was the defense that got them the lead going into the fourth. So there's definitely like some encouraging signs to me, because I still maintain I think this team is going to be better defensively. I think they're going to be improved. It's about the consistency. They have fewer moments of looking pathetic out there, and that's a good thing. Last game against the Pistons, there were fundamental breakdowns. Tonight, I felt like they did struggle with Jaren Jackson big time. And by the way, if Jaren Jackson Jr. is healthy, which has been kind of the thing with him in his career, that's trouble. I mean, a guy that could shoot threes and block shots like that at his size is ridiculous. And the Kings really didn't have an answer for him. They don't have another guy with size. As we could continue to talk about this team more in like going forward with the roster, I mean, Metu could not guard him. HB he's strong, but like Jaren Jackson's massive. They had a lot of trouble with Jaren Jackson Jr.
It's tough because someone like Metu too has all the physical capabilities to be a really good defender. There's times I even go, he gets it. He has shown discipline. Mike Brown has trusted him with more time. And then there's times like even tonight, not saying Triple J isn't this guy that is a dominant force in the paint. We all know what he can do. But at the same time, with Metu and some of his defensive breakdowns, it looks a little bit more like it's effort. And when I say effort, not like, oh, he's not trying. He's just not focused on getting in that defensive stance, making sure to not give someone an angle, making sure to stay big and hold your ground. Just those fundamental attention to details on defense for Metu is what I would like to see more of, especially with how this roster is constructed right now.
And Sabonis when it gets physical, them and teams have been physical with him all year, but specifically a team that's got a little more size at that position, like Steven Adams.
Yeah.
They make life hard for the guy. I mean, it's a challenge. I don't think, I mean, if you look at the 2 games against Memphis this year, you know, he is tracking kind of a triple-double in both of those games, but they really limit him from getting anything going offensively.
Wait, you were talking about they limit Sabonis.
Yes.
Yeah, no, sorry, I was just making sure. Well, it's like what I was saying earlier with the double teams that they're throwing at him. Like they were stopping him from doing anything he wanted to do. He ended with 13 rebounds and still 8 assists. Like that's just him obviously doing a good job with the dribble handoffs with Kevin Huerter, and still his ability to make things happen are there. But when they threw that double at him, they took away his vision. They made sure that he was not going to like split the defense or get through them. There's times where I'm like, man, he is so strong. He just looks like an absolute force down there. And then there's other times when he tries to push through some long arms, whether it's, you know, Jaren Jackson Jr. or even Steven Adams, and it's confusing. It's like, no, you know that's not there. And I know you want to try it. And I know you want to make that work and happen, but it's just not there. So it's tough. He's going to have to just keep playing smart as the Kings keep on playing these teams with some bigger guys.
Yeah, and I think the one thing with him, and I saw the same thing with Embiid sometimes when a double team comes, I'm like, you guys are big dudes. You're going to get double teamed.
Yeah.
I would just like to see him get the ball out faster. You know, read the double team. And look, some of these defenses, Memphis is a great example. They could disguise it. They've got guys flying at you different ways. They're going to throw different looks at you, so it's hard to predict. But get the ball out faster. You know, it's like the double team comes and then you're trapped. And it's like, well, now you got arms around you. You can't find the open man.
Who navigates the double teams the best in this league? It's probably Steph Curry. He sees it coming before it's even there. And so your timing and understanding of the double team just has to be there. It has to be at a whole different level. And I think they can get there, but sometimes too, when you're Sabonis and you're in the post, every time he's turning the same way. He's got to make sure that he's either facing up a different way, using a different pivot foot, whatever it is. He needs to change it up a little bit more because it has become predictable for some teams to throw that double at him before he even knows it's coming.
Can we take a second for a second? Take a second for a second, if that makes sense.
Take a second for a second.
Turn over, Deuce. Let's give some love to people watching us live. It is a Tuesday night. It's after 9 o'clock. It's a holiday week, and Kings fans are showing out big watching us live. The biggest thing you can do is hit the thumbs up button. It helps us grow. Subscribe. It helps us grow in a big way. We have increased our subscriptions. I think we're up like 600 on the month this year.
Dude.
We're tracking the most downloads and views that we've had. It keeps growing each month. It's because you guys have been amazing, so we appreciate you guys being here. Matt in the chat wants you to know he loves a crew neck look.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah. No, I mean, crew necks, that's what I live in. That's why I'm doing the podcast from my hotel room and not the studio, because
fair.
I was like, I need to get out of this dress.
What else? I wanted to read a couple more from the chat. I did put a poll question too, Morgan. The Kings have won 7 in a row. 7 in a row. How do you feel? 76% say love it. This team is for real. 20% cautious optimism, and 4% many flaws. Kangs.
I'm shocked that a percentage still feels that way.
It's 4%. Like, Morgan, relax.
No. And when I say that, I guess if you're watching this game, the Kings, this team, you can just tell that it's different. And yes, I go into every single game, I'm waiting for them to be like, okay, when are they going to screw up? You saw a little bit more of it late in this game, but them figuring out how to win. And you said that in your WebEx hit tonight on NBC. You talked about how, hey, if I would rather learn from a win from an ugly win than learn from a loss. So I know that they're going to learn a lot from this late game struggles that they had tonight, but now they're going to go up against a dysfunctional team. I say dysfunctional at times in the Atlanta Hawks, where they just never seem to find a flow, or guys don't even seem like they actually like each other.
Yeah.
So
There's
you're
some weird stuff with John Collins going on for sure. He's in trade rumors for the 800th time for sure.
Yeah, it's just, and that's why I'm not acting like it's the worst team in the league, but like there's just dysfunction there. And you are now seeing so many teams with their main guy being their guard, their point guard, and what you need to do and bring into a game to stop them first. And I think that same thing is going to go for Trae Young, because that's someone who has the ball in his hands the entire game, who wants to create the most. So how do you slow him down, stop him to really dominate this next game? Are my standards too high?
No, you're just jumping ahead. I want to get to a couple more things from tonight, though,
yes.
before we get to the Hawks. All right. Harrison Barnes was with the G-Man after the game talking about the win. HB's been amazing.
How nerve-wracking was it for a 10-year veteran such as yourself over the final 5 or 6 minutes of this contest?
Man, it was a battle. We definitely, committed some mistakes, had some turnovers there, but I'm just proud of the way we fought to get another win.
Coaches talk about finding ways to win. It's a learning process for so many of your teammates that don't have your longtime experience in the NBA. How valuable is a win like this that extends the momentum of a now 7-game winning streak?
It's big. I mean, we haven't had too many games like this where we had a lead and we made some big mistakes down the stretch. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to learn. Win or lose, it's definitely a great opportunity for us to learn and get better.
When you knocked down a three that gave the Kings a big double-digit advantage here just past the midpoint or near the midpoint of the fourth quarter, I said, remember that shot. It may be the key one of the night. How good did your rhythm feel from downtown tonight? You knocked down 4 of those rascals.
Man, I just try to keep the faith. My faith is what has always kept me grounded, kept me going in this league. So I always try to do that. And, I'm thankful for my teammates for finding me.
As I try to look at the numbers and do the quick math in my head, I think you have now made 62 of the last 67 free throws you've attempted. How good does that feel?
Like I always say, the 5 that got away, and that's what you think about at night. So, try to be better than that in that department.
All right. Let's give it a quick thought about what lies ahead, because it's a trip to Atlanta tonight. It's against a rested, good Atlanta Hawks club tomorrow. How much gas do you think there's collectively in the tank?
There's a lot. I mean, to play another good offensive team tomorrow, to keep the energy and the vibes going, I think it's big for us. So, I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Well, this is something that the Kings haven't done in 18 years. You got to go back to November of 2004, the last time they won 7 in a row. That's a long time before you were even started in the NBA. So congratulations on that, Falcon, and we'll wish you the very best and look forward to seeing you in action tomorrow night against the Hawks.
I appreciate the time, G-Man.
Would you bet through that it's been 18 years before you started playing in the NBA line? Wow.
I love how you called him Falcon, just not even Black Falcon.
The Falcon. HB's last 4 games, Morgan. In the win over Brooklyn, he had 16 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Against San Antonio, he had 16, 8, and 2 assists. Against the Pistons, he had 27 points, 9 rebounds. And tonight, 26 points, 4 rebounds. All of those games, good shooting numbers. So after a slow start, he's been crucial because, Keegan got off to a nice start, right?
Yeah.
And HB wasn't giving him much at all. And now it's really kind of flip-flopped here where Keegan's kind of in this funk, right? He had the back thing, some injuries, some personal things going on. He's a rookie. But HB stepped up in a massive way. I know there was a lot of concern in the fan base about him, and he stepped up.
This has got to be one of those moments for all of us, anybody out there, to just make sure that you're not reacting too quick, because it is the NBA. Guys go through slumps. They go through streaks. Sometimes some shots aren't falling. Sometimes there's something going on in their life and things aren't going well. And you just have to still believe until they show you consistently that you should not believe. And I think Harrison Barnes has had so many of these patches in these moments where people have like just turned on him, and then he'll have these great moments of like, man, what a solid wing in this league, and you need him. And I think that's why you just don't get too high and low on anybody on this squad, and you just kind of ride it how it is. And right now there's solid play from multiple players on this roster.
All right, we have a lot more coming up, but we should mention that tonight's podcast presented by Joey Reagan over at Lion Real Estate. Morgan may not be on the screen, but her brother is on the screen. If you're looking for a house in the Sacramento area, there's no better person to hit up than Joey. Right, Morgan?
Right, Deuce, because he's so cool. No, but seriously, he's Joey's just so easy to talk to. Obviously, so many people have been using Joey for quite some time now because he just understands the Sacramento area. And so if you're looking to buy or sell your home, and you're looking to have a relationship with your real estate agent and not just a transaction, Joey's the person to go to.
Yeah, so go to his website, jreagan.golion.com. That's jreagan.golion.com, or shoot him a call. Give him a text, 916-412-4592. That's 916-412-4592. He has helped one of our podcast listeners relocate from Jersey to Sacramento. He's a great guy to deal with. So if you're looking for a house in the Sacramento area, hit Joey up. He will help you out. We're also presented today by our friends over at East Sac Fitness. If you're trying to get ripped like Deuce Mason and Morgan Reagan, you're going to want to go to East Sac Fitness. They've got all the classes you could possibly need. We got spin classes. We got yoga. We got functional fitness. They will make sure you're lifting the right way, getting in shape. Oh, and they've got a recovery room with a sauna and a cold plunge. Check them out online today, eastsacfitness.com. That's eastsacfitness.com. Morgan Reagan. The Kings have won 7 in a row. Are you kidding?
I know. I'm a really happy person right now. And I am just so happy for this city. And I'm really happy for these players, especially the ones that have experienced so much losing around the Sacramento Kings for quite some time. Harrison Barnes, De'Aaron Fox. They deserve it. And they're working their asses off right now. Truly just on another level.
Well, you had a chance to talk to Domantas Sabonis after the game. You asked him about the 7-game win streak.
They got the win. They battled that one out. And Domas, you guys, 7 in a row for the first time since 2004. How does that sound to you?
It sounds awesome. You know, we're working. These last 2 ones weren't pretty, but, you know, you're going to have games like this in the NBA, and the most important thing is to go out and get that win.
Did you guys feel like down the stretch, maybe like the last 3 minutes, it was more about trying to burn clock than staying in your offense? I felt like you guys got a little complacent from a standpoint of let's just move the ball around and not necessarily attack. Did you feel that out on the court? Was that the game plan, or just kind of happened that way?
It wasn't a game plan. I feel like it just happened. You know, they sped us up. You know, it was our first time being in that kind of situation, and we're gonna watch film, get better, and be ready next time.
That's it. That's all you can do, Morgan. Be ready the next time. As I try to get you back on the screen. There you go. Took me a second, but I got there. Oops, and now I'm playing stuff on accident.
Oh,
anyway,
God.
yeah, and that's the biggest thing. You're saying, hey, we haven't really seen some of the stuff like that. Well, now you see it. There's going to be tape. I can guarantee you Mike Brown is going to make them watch it. They'll probably do a shoot around tomorrow and walk through it all and be ready for the next time.
Well, and that's what I loved about the Pistons game and what he had to say about their defense after the Pistons game. He wasn't happy with it. He understands what it takes to get a win in this league. And it's not like he's not happy about a win, even if it is an ugly win, but he still has higher expectations for his guys and their ability on the defensive end. And that's why, yeah, all those breakdowns, everything that they have to look at after a game like this as well. It's not to just put them down. It's just to truly grow and make them better.
Ron in the chat says, it's so funny that most fans focus on that last 4 minutes and say we played bad. Yeah, I mean, I don't think you could just focus on, 1 4-minute part. Now, if the Kings lose tonight, we're probably spending a lot of time talking about the last 4 minutes and what went wrong. But yeah, I mean, you can't ignore what happened down the stretch, but the big picture is you found a way to win the game still. And that's what matters. I mean, what was going through your mind, Morgan? And by the way, they play without Desmond Bane. Ja Morant ends up playing last minute after being questionable. Ja Morant gets fouled by Fox on the 3. I got to see more replays on that. I'm not convinced it was a foul, but whatever. They gave him 3 free throws. He misses the first one. Woo!
When that happened.
Did you think it was over? Did you think we were going to overtime?
Yeah, well, yes. I was not expecting Ja Morant to miss a free throw, and especially since it was the first one. So then it was like, okay, you got to make the second, and now you're going to try and create something off the last. And that's where I was getting nervous, where it wasn't even going to be overtime. Like, I didn't know where that was going to go at that point, just because he is so crafty and he does know how to execute those type of plays. But that's one of the hardest things to do, is hit it off the front of the rim, get the ball back. Instead, there was a lane violation. But then there was a play going down on the other end, I believe, after that, and it was De'Aaron Fox going up with that layup, and they called a foul, or no, they didn't call a foul, and he like got the 2 and they didn't call a foul, or I forget how it went. God, I wish I remembered right now.
They didn't give him they didn't give him continuation on that play.
That's what it was. Thank you. I'm like, what happened there? Because I was like, De'Aaron Fox was not happy about it. And I love that De'Aaron's like, how the hell are you not going to?
It should have been an and one. It should have definitely been an and one. And so they go out to foul, go shoot 2 free throws. It was an and one.
Right. They just had some of those moments tonight. The officiating again.
They missed a transition take foul. Dylan Brooks had a transition take foul. He was not making a play on the ball at one point in the game. They don't call it.
Dude.
And look, if they would have lost tonight, it wasn't because of the officials. I've defended the officials a lot on this podcast over the years. I don't remember a time where NBA officiating overall has been this bad. And it's not just from Kings games. I mean, I'm watching the Celtics game the other night, or last night against Chicago, and the Celtics are back in the game. They're down like 19. Tatum attacks on a drive. He gets hammered. No call whatsoever. And you're sitting there going, what is happening? How are you missing calls? I've never heard so many late whistles in my life.
That's the one.
But they're calling every carry in the book. I'm like, is this what we're worried about now in the NBA? We're worried about the carries. Guys have been carrying for the last 25 years, and now we're going to focus on that. But guys can get hammered going to the basket. We can have a guy get hammered, miss the shot, fall to the ground. Oh, he missed the shot. Now blow the whistle. Those things can't happen. The league is in a weird spot with officiating right now.
Yeah, it just seems like there's a lot more biases than there have been in the past, maybe, or like just obvious biases. And it's difficult. People are going to have their biases. They're humans, they're officials. I get it. But you just got to do a better job. This is the best league in the world, and you have to have the best officiating in the world.
Morgan, do you want an updated look at the standings?
Sure.
We're going to show them now. Sacramento Kings, after the win, the hottest team in the NBA. They've won 7 in a row. They are now the 3rd seed in the NBA's Western Conference. The Suns won, Utah 2, the Kings in 3rd.
This is weird. This is weird. Like, it doesn't, and okay, I asked Matt this really quick. I did ask Matt because we started seeing the standings and like where the Kings were. And I was like, is it still too early? And he looked at me and he said, yes, it's still too early.
Well, for sure, it's too early. I mean, the difference, I was going to say, the difference between the 10 seed and the 1 seed is 2 games right now.
But my point was going to be, it's obviously too early, but you're still allowed, just as a Kings fan, to get excited that it's even there, that you're seeing that, because we've seen shit for so long that was depressing, that looking at those standings, enjoy it for what it is.
How about the Pistons going on the road tonight, getting their first road win of the season? They beat the Nuggets in Denver, 110-108. Jaden Ivey only had 7 points in the game. It was Alec Burks with 21, Bogdanovich with 22 in the win. Yes, they beat the Denver Nuggets in Denver tonight, 110-108. So it is crazy to look at the standings. You've got the Kings are at 10-6. The Nuggets are at 10-7. The Blazers 10-7. Pelicans 10-7. The Clippers 11-7. This is going to be an absolute like shit show in the West this year. It's going to be competitive, and every night's going to be a tough game.
Well, that's the other thing, Deuce, because how consistent De'Aaron Fox is playing at such a high level, and we keep want to talk about him being in that all-star conversation, as he absolutely should be. But you do have to look around the Western Conference and you just go, there are so many guards that are legit all-stars in this conference, but I would honestly be pissed off.
Yeah.
He stayed at this level and did not make it. I would be like,
he's 100% making it if he plays at this level. He is 100% making it. If he doesn't get voted in, he'll be a replacement player because someone always misses the game. He's getting in the All-Star game. He's playing too good. And I thought tonight was important for that. And honestly, I don't really, to me, if the Kings are winning and he's playing well and he gets an All-Star, that's awesome. The All-Star itself, whatever. You know, I want to see wins, and we're seeing wins right now. But I felt like tonight was kind of an important game for that All-Star race. You're taking on Memphis. Ja's playing. You know, Ja's overshadowed him over the last couple of years. And De'Aaron was a monster tonight. He was big time.
well, you talk about big time. It's really just, we're seeing him in those clutch moments, but it's those big 3-point shots that he's now hitting. I can't believe even for a second, I was like, okay, maybe he's going to be one of those point guards in this league that is still dominant in so many different ways, but just doesn't develop his 3-point shot. He is a serious threat from outside, and his first explosive step that he has on guys as well just makes him just a threat from everywhere on the floor. It is, I don't even understand how you go into games if you're the other team and game plan for how to defend De'Aaron Fox. Like the speed, the shot working from the outside, what he's capable of doing in those crunch time moments. It's amazing. Monster.
Well, it got the attention of Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant on his podcast was raving about the Kings. Here's what he had to say.
De'Aaron Fox,
the worst record in the league. Playing against them when you got, first of all, you can't really switch anybody on to Sabonis because he's too strong.
Yeah.
So that throws off a lot of your defense as well. When you want to keep your matchup. So now you got to chase off Kevin Huerter. Kevin Huerter, right now,
Red Velvet,
he playing like Clay Step, like the way he coming off the handoffs and shooting a basketball right now. If you're not a basketball fan and locked in on the league, you got to watch how Kevin Huerter is shooting this ball right now. He in the 50s, and like when you go through scout, you hear all these stats, and everybody just seems way better than what they are in scout and shoot around.
Yeah.
Like when we going, because you got to respect. But Kevin Huerter shooting 7 threes a game and feel like 7 or 8, and they all at 50%. When you hear that, and then you watch the clips in the film when the shots he's shooting, it's just like, oh shit, we're in for a long night. And then you got De'Aaron Fox coming down that hill at you all game. Harrison Barnes, who can get a bucket on anybody in an isolation situation. And Keegan Murray, like he playing like Michael Porter Jr. the way he at 6'9", catching and shooting like that. And then you got off the bench. Terrence Davis had 30 on.
Jesus, they shot the hell out of the ball.
They shot the piss out the ball. But you got guys that can shoot it, that can get hot. Malik Monk, Trey Lyles, even a good bench piece.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Metu can shoot it from the big. So they got a deep team, and they even got Rashad Holmes playing minutes for him. I might miss a couple guys as well.
For the first time in a long time, their team makes a ton of sense.
They make sense.
They make sense. They have a starting lineup they like. They have bench guys they like. They have a ton of shooting.
Yeah,
and
great
De'Aaron
coaching.
Fox is an all-star, and they have a great coach.
And great coaching. And Mike Brown, every time it's a transition, he's screaming at them, run to the corner, get to the corner. Every time we miss a shot, or every time it's even a make, he's screaming, get up the floor, get up the floor. And it's like, yeah, I see where they're going.
Oh, Lauren, is KD flirting with the Kings a little bit? Sound like a guy flirting. I mean, he was raving about everything about this
he's
team.
just a hooper breaking down the game, man. That's all he was doing. Everyone calm down. But you love hearing that from a star player like Kevin Durant, and especially when he's going to compare someone like Kevin Huerter to some of the best shooters in this league. And I was saying that in the post game too, Deuce. I'm like, why doesn't everyone mirror their game after Steph Curry? Why? And you're starting to see Kevin Huerter find pieces and elements of what Steph Curry does on the floor to what works for him in his game with moving without the basketball.
He's been outstanding moving without the basketball this year. So good at setting screens, getting shots. The 2-man game with Sabonis. Morgan's getting up for some reason.
I need my charger.
You didn't plug in your charger on your laptop while we're doing a live podcast?
Correct.
Think about that for a second. Think about what you're saying.
No, I want to keep talking Kevin Durant, so shut up.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, I loved hearing those comments because he's one of the greats to ever play the game. And for him to see what's happening right now in Sacramento, he gave him a lot of love. And it's weird because you're right. We're 16 games in. There's a long way to go in the season, right? There's so much that can transpire. But I think this is a good team. Like, you're seeing enough competitive basketball, competent basketball. They've got the offensive firepower. And, yeah, they're going to make some mistakes along the way because they're a flawed team still. They have some roster things that they could probably still do at this point. Like, you need some help off the bench, I think. Monte's not ignorant. I think Monte knows that they probably need some rim protection. And, you know, he's not blind. I mean, he's watching the games just like us. So they've got some holes, but there's a lot to like about what Monte McNair has been able to do. And I think that's the other thing. Like, we've spent a lot of time talking about Mike Brown, Morgan, what he's meant, but Monte has had a complete makeover. And I think he's going to end up getting an extension soon. I do.
Okay. Well, let me go back to what you were saying though, because now I'm starting to forget. But one thing I did want to say was Kevin Durant talking about Mike Brown, and then you started bringing up Mike Brown, and I think it's that time of the night. Yeah, 9:37. Usually when we slobber all over Mike Brown and talk about his ability to coach this team and to make everything better in Sacramento. I believe it was probably his idea that to put the light beam on top of the building because he's that genius of a human being, and I love him. But Mike Brown, we talked about a little bit in our postgame too about him being a coach of the year candidate. And I don't think that's too soon to say something like that when you see a team. You knew any coach that was going to come in and make a difference with the Sacramento Kings was going to be in that conversation no matter what. But this difference isn't just in the win-loss column. This difference is what exactly everything that we just keep talking about. It's with the culture shift. It's with the buy-in from the guys. It's with his philosophies on both ends of the floor. And so I just love everything that he has brought to this squad. And I think him and Monte McNair can do a really good job of fixing and tweaking those things on the roster that need to be fixed.
It's a great point, just some of the subtle things he does in the game. One, the early timeouts, that's consistent, man. You mess up, especially for a team that's trying to build consistency on the defensive end. If you're having easy mistakes, like fundamental mistakes, I'm calling a timeout and we're talking about it. And at some point, you know, you got to let guys play through it and all that. But no, this is still the early stages of him trying to establish that culture and establish accountability. Him calling a timeout when Keegan allowed Contra to get an open three. He's talking to Keegan about it. It is a teaching moment. Then you talk about the lineup stuff that he does a lot at the end of like quarters or halves. He'll go offense, defense. He put Davion Mitchell in late in the first half. Davion makes a play. You know what I mean? It's just, I've been so impressed with those type of things, you know, where, hey, you might go, the half's going to end here. It's fine. Just leave these guys in. It's like, no, we're going offense, defense. Or, hey, I only put this guy in because we need a three here. Guy hits a three. You know, like, those are the things that show you're on top of it. It shows you know what you're doing. And you're right. Like, there's no doubt about it, Morgan. If the Kings are a playoff team this year, if they're a play-in team this year, if they're above 500, he is the coach of the year because he is ending a streak that's been 16 years long. And he has helped elevate Fox's game to another level. He's gotten the most out of the talent. The other thing that I think needs to be talked about more, and I don't know if the stats have been updated yet, but going into tonight, the Kings were number 1 in offensive rating in the NBA. And I think sometimes we're quick to dismiss that because it's like, well, the Kings have had good offensive teams at times over the years. They've been bad at defense. That's the thing. No, last year they were bad at defense. Awful. We know that. But they were 24th in offensive rating last year. McNair, Wes Wilcox got him some pieces. They did the right things. But then Mike Brown brought over that motion offense. Yes. And you put that together, and you've got the best offense in basketball right now. Best offensive rating in basketball. You go from 24 to 1.
Deuce.
Now, can they stay at 1? We'll see. But, I mean, that's an impressive jump, Morgan.
You're right. The leap is very impressive when you just look at the numbers. But if you just talking about what we see in that motion offense, it's these guys that buy in to make it work. It's not only De'Aaron Fox being the threat that he is and executing everything on such a high level. It's guys being told to make that extra pass to the corner or to get that paint touch in that possession and use the clock, or in transition pace, it's to push the shit out of the ball from rim to rim. Whatever they're being told, they are doing, they are listening to, and they are executing on so many levels. And that's why when shit hits the fan in whatever some of these games that we have seen it in some of these uglier wins, you're seeing they're still understanding what they need to accomplish on the offensive end, what they're being told and coached by Mike Brown. And that's why it's working, because they're listening to what he is saying, his directions. It's incredible. It's incredible. The offense that he has put in with this roster just makes so much sense. So much sense. And I'm just so glad that there's so many guys that have bought into it.
Kevin in the chat says, do you think the Kings turning things around might help get talent to come to Sacramento? I do think winning helps that, and it doesn't hurt if Mike Brown has established a culture. I'm a big believer that you can attract free agents. You just have to have an organization that has their shit together and is winning and showing good signs. You know, so much is made of, hey, LA and New York all the time. We hear about it every year. The Knicks, what's their big free agent draw over the last decade, right? Like, Jalen Brunson's a nice pickup, but like, that's not like a superstar in this league. You can get quality NBA talent to come here. The Kings did that when they were good in the early 2000s, when they had a sign and trade for Brad Miller, right? They were able to get guys to come over and believe in what they were doing. You know, then they get the fringe guys who are smart veterans like Jim Jackson and Keon Clark, you know, taking a chance on Bobby Jackson. You got to be a little more savvy, but I think if you could show you've got the right thing going on, yeah, I do think they can draw some talent.
Something you mentioned before the game tonight was the difference in De'Aaron Fox. And you said one of the things that you noticed, he's smiling, he's happy, he's playing with joy. And you're right. When guys are in a good basketball atmosphere, their job, you know, that they have to spend so much time around, but basketball is fun. It does also attract people to want to be there. Why do you think people, I mean, not just because the Warriors have Steph Curry and they've had championships and they're winning, people have enjoyed playing basketball there, or that style of basketball.
Jared in the chat says, anyone seen the Kings' upcoming schedule heading into 2023? Maybe the toughest stretch of the schedule any team in the league will face this season. We're going to find out a lot more about the Kings soon. Yeah, I mean, here's the reality, though. Look at you can't jump too far ahead of the schedule. Before the season, everyone told me the Kings had the hardest schedule in NBA history. Then it was, this road trip is going to be hard. You can't predict what is happening with the other teams. Injuries happen. Teams maybe not playing their best basketball. Guys coming back. It's so hard to predict. I brought this example last week. If you would have told me a few weeks back, Kings are playing the Spurs, you'd be like, that's a tough game. Well, the Spurs are not a good team now. Like they're proving that, and the Kings got them then. So it's hard to evaluate. And then the other thing I would say is there's not many easy games in the NBA anymore. One, look at the Western Conference. It's insane, right? Like when I say that the difference between 12-1 is not that drastic, that's insane, right? This is going to be a super competitive Western Conference. Can anyone say today who is the front runner in the Western Conference? I don't think you can. You might go, well, I think the Warriors could turn it around. Well, they got a lot of shit to figure out. Oh, the Phoenix Suns. Sure. But there's each one of these teams we mentioned has flaws. The parity in this league is unreal. So every game's going to be a battle. If you make the playoffs this year, you're going to earn it.
That's what makes this so fun, though.
I
mean, obviously, I'm in Sacramento and I cover the Kings and I'm a fan of the Kings, and I'm saying that's what makes this league so fun. But I felt that same way when we saw changes happening with other teams over these last couple of years. I think the Memphis Grizzlies have been such a fun story, and there's so many years, just you and I were like, can't we just be like that? Isn't there going to be a time? And then year after year, depressing, awful basketball. And we were like, wow, can you be this bad forever? Is that going to be the identity of this organization? And the fact that you're seeing things turn around right now in this season so quickly from a new head coach in the offseason, I believe.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about this season has been some of the adversity that they have felt. And it's the 0-4 start, sure, but it's the Pistons game. Pistons are beating you at home, trying to snap your skid, right? It's being down to the Lakers without LeBron. It's tonight when you have a lead and you're trying to protect it on the road and you don't have your crowd behind you and their crowd's into it, and you're still finding ways to win.
Yeah.
You have to learn from each one of these battles. And I think it's that type of adversity that can make things easier down the road. Like if you can handle this, then you're going to be able to handle a lot of things. There's going to be a lot of tough moments. This road trip, you play again tomorrow night against the Hawks, and the Hawks have a talented team. That backcourt with Trey and DeJounte Murray, you got a legit shot blocker and Capella, Okongwu. You know, Collins could get his. The rookie AJ Griffin has shown some stuff out there. And it's the second I have a back-to-back. I am so ready for Kevin Huerter to be back in Atlanta. Are we going to get a Huerter revenge game? Are we going to get a Huerter giving them buckets? I bet you he's a little fired up that this team gave up on him. Now he's in Sacramento, part of a 10-6 team. He's having career numbers. He's shooting the lights out. He's got Kevin Durant talking about him. And that team in Atlanta said, you know what? We're going to get rid of you because we want Murray, and we still have that bogey guy. Like, we're good. We're going to trade you.
You know, he just needs to play his game. And obviously it's going to be on his mind, right? It was his first trade and team and everything. And you just think about someone that gets too excited mentally coming into that situation. I hope that doesn't happen to him because I love the way that he's been playing, and I would love if he got to do that on his old floor.
The Hawks, by the way, are 10-7 on the season. This league is so weird.
It is. I know. And that's why I know when I call them a dysfunctional team, it's more just from, again, watching them play. It just doesn't feel right. It's like they don't buy in or believe in each other, but
they haven't really found any momentum. They haven't had they haven't had a 7-game win streak, Morgan. You know, that's a Sacramento thing. Okay, you know, who can relate to that? Boston and Sacramento, pretty much. Yeah, they did not close well in that game against the Cavs last night. It was not a good finish for them, and I think they're still trying to learn how to play with those two guards. You know, they were missing a lot of shots last night, but Trae Young's a problem. We know this. It's still a winnable game, and it is the second night of a back-to-back. The flight is like an hour and 15 minutes. Like, they're already in Atlanta by now, so it's not like they have to go, 3,000 miles across the country.
Right. No, that's good.
So, yeah, you got to be happy with where the Kings are at. You want to take a call? We've got Brian here, Morgan. And Brian's from Tennessee. He lives in Tennessee. He was at the game tonight with his kids.
Hello.
What's up, man?
Well, we are here in Memphis, my boys and I.
Hell yeah. How was the game, man?
It was electric. We were the loudest people in the entire arena. Would you say so, kids?
Liam, definitely.
Yeah, Liam was doing the oogie boogie, making up words while they were shooting free throws, and it was pretty annoying, but hey, it worked.
Do you have a song tonight? I was hoping you'd have a song tonight, after a win.
Well, I don't know. Do we have a song? What were we singing at the game, guys? Do you remember? No. We were singing Red Velvet when he hit those threes. So we were singing the Red Velvet made the little boy smile. Red Velvet with a 3-point style. We had fun tonight, guys. Go Kings, like the
yes, dude. Appreciate you checking
awesome.
in. Yeah, I saw that he was with his kids tonight. He went to the game. He saw a win. How great is that? Let's go next to Boise. Boise, how are you feeling?
Hello.
Hey, okay.
I'm feeling great, dude. I'm feeling
all right.
fantastic.
All right, you're coming in a little hot right now.
What? I just said I was feeling good.
I know, but
that's a good thing.
I didn't even say how are you doing, and you just come in. I'm feeling fantastic.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I thought you said that. My mic was. I'm so sorry about that.
So what's up? What's up, man?
Oh, I just want to say I know like the last 4 minutes are like garbage, but that's a game we don't usually win. Like I don't know, like if people are like looking too much into it. I mean, not that, but like that's a game we don't win last year. We don't win it the year before. That was awesome, dude. We actually sealed the deal, and I'm like, I'm out of breath, dude. I'm like, this is amazing. 7 games?
Are you outside?
Oh yeah. Taking a walk.
Love your energy, Boise. I appreciate this on so many levels. And I hope you remember this joy and this feeling. And don't get too low if things ever go the other way too.
Of course. I have a question for y'all. You know when Steven Adams got the text, you know why Fox shot the free throw?
Well, he's one of your better free throw shooters this year. What do you mean? Guy's shooting 85% from the line. What, you're not going to give De'Aaron Fox the ball?
I know, but wasn't Huerter on the court too?
Oh, Kevin Huerter is actually one of the worst free throw shooters this year. It's so weird.
I know, but like I don't know. I don't trust Fox at the free throw. That's on me. And I'm a Fox stan. There's nothing against Fox.
No. Here's my problem though. You're going to say you don't trust Fox to make the free throw, and he's shooting a career high at the free throw line. Meanwhile, Kevin Huerter, the guy that you wanted to shoot the free throw, I know he makes everything. He's shooting 66% from the free throw line this year.
Oh, shoot. That's on me then.
Can we find out why Kevin Huerter is not making his free throws, Morgan?
I did not know that. I need to look into that more.
Yeah.
Boise needs to look into that one. And I love that.
My bad.
Said, hey, his turnover, his bad. And for Kevin Huerter, you guys, it's the same thing that we saw with, not the same thing, but with Harrison Barnes early on in this season when we were asking about his free throws and just everything seemed down. It looked like he wasn't in a good mental space. I think with Kevin Huerter, I don't know what it is. I can't say it's a fundamental thing. Maybe it's just like a mental thing.
I mean, he doesn't go there a lot. In the Cleveland game, he got there 7 times. He was 6 of 7, but then he went 3 games, Brooklyn, San Antonio, and Detroit, where he did not even take a free throw.
Yeah, my bad about that when I'm looking at stats right now.
Yeah, no, good job, man. But yeah, I think it is kind of crazy though when you think of Huerter, where this guy has been absurd shooting the ball from the perimeter, right? Like 50% from 3. That's insane. 16 games into an NBA season, and you would think like the free throw would be just an easy shot. It's so weird.
Yeah.
You think, you guys, it's sometimes the easiest things are just the hardest to mentally to jump over that mental hurdle.
Alrighty then. Thank you guys. Just wanted to say that. Alright, see ya.
Boise. Hey, man.
Boise.
We were fast. Hey. Boise. Oh, he's gone. All right.
What were you going to say?
Well, some people in the chat were giving me crap. Like, hey, let the man be happy. I was just, I totally love his happiness. It was so funny. He just came in like it was De'Aaron Fox attacking the basket. It was like, oh, whoa. Let's talk.
I appreciated it on every level. So I agree with all of our listeners, and they're right, Deuce. You should have been even more excited about his excitement.
Okay, my bad. What do you think of Ja Morant tonight, Morgan? He was let's see here. He was 9 of 15 from the free throw line. He did have 34 points, including 20 in the fourth quarter.
Dude, I mean, I was, like we said earlier, it was nice seeing them slow him down early on in that game. And then fourth quarter, the way that he knows how to turn it on, he's one of the best players. He's one of the best players in this league. He's so dependable, especially late in games. And it was scary when he started doing that against the Sacramento Kings, but it was shocking to see that his only three tonight was that deep end of the shot clock three that Keegan Murray's running out on him.
Oh, I could not believe he made that. And that was a big moment. You're like, oh, crap. Are they going to make a run here? Shout out to the super chat from OG Owens. He donates $20 saying, Boogie off the bench, ? We have covered DeMarcus Cousins before on the podcast, but it's just not a fit. I mean, we've been talking about defense, especially coming off the bench. The defense hasn't been great at times, especially at the big spot. DeMarcus Cousins does not solve any of your defensive issues whatsoever. He's never really been a good defensive player, and the injuries have hurt him even more in that area. So
yeah, they have the ability to still be obviously very dominant on the offensive end. So if anything, they need to make the tweaks on the defensive end. So yeah, that just does not make any sense at all.
Will says Ja is so good, but gets some iffy calls. Yeah, he gets a lot of calls, but hey, you're that good, you're going to get some calls. Shane is a big Malik Monk fan, as you know, Morgan. Malik Monk's biggest fan, saying Ja is trash, Morgan, just so you know.
Oh, thank you for the breakdown. I appreciate it. Ja is trash. Noted.
I mean, what are you saying here? Well, we talk about like who's a front runner in the West. If they're healthy, do you think they're the front runner in the West?
Who, Memphis?
Yeah.
I mean, to start the season, I was very optimistic of what they could do after last year, but we've talked about it too, Deuce, just some of the guys they lost, and Kyle Anderson even, and those role players,
D'Anthony Melton,
those role players on some of these squads around the NBA. Look at the Golden State Warriors, Juan Toscano Anderson. Why is that the only one I can think of it? Gary Payton the second.
You talking about for the Warriors now?
Mm-hmm. I was just talking about going around the league and talking about role players and how some of these names have truly affected what these teams were capable of doing last year. And I think with the Memphis Grizzlies, they're still stacked with talent, and they have some great coaching and just their philosophy on the floor, right? And staying physical with people. Like, they have a standard there in Memphis, but I think losing some of these guys really is a bigger deal than some people actually give credit for.
Yeah. Can they get Zaire Williams back and healthy? He's getting closer. Can Jaren Jackson Jr. stay healthy? Ja's going to be good. Desmond Bane's hurt right now, and he was off to kind of an all-star level beginning of the season. So they're going to be legit. The West is fun, man. Buckle up. This is going to be a fun ride, Morgan.
Yeah, I'm excited for this ride, Deuce, because I'm experiencing good basketball, and there's going to be the rough nights that are ahead, but the fact is they're building something on top of this good basketball. And with the amount of time that we invest, all of us, when I say we, I mean all of us, the amount of time that all of us invest into this squad, we just deserve it. And I'm super happy.
Worst case scenario.
Oh.
No, hear me out.
Okay.
Worst case scenario for the rest of the road trip. They lose the next two. They still come home at 10-8. I mean, that's what's exciting, and that's the whole thing. Just stay around 500. Just be in that mix, right? And go steal one tomorrow. The Boston game, you deal with it then. Go steal tomorrow. Feel really good. All of a sudden, you win 8 in a row. You get the Ocho. You're feeling good. Huerter has a big game. And again, you go to Boston for a tough battle. Next couple games are going to be challenging for sure, but this is why we're here. It's competitive. It's fun. You get the juices going. You try to get better. And you're seeing some amazing play from a young talent, De'Aaron Fox. I love it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's like you said, the challenge lies ahead, but all it does is tell us more and more about this team, which is actually really exciting. I'm excited to learn more about this team.
It's so lit.
Ew.
Did I say it did I say it right?
No, you just say that's lit.
Hey, this 7-game win streak, Morgan, bussin'.
No.
No cat. No cat. Does that work?
Bussin'. You're so stupid. Sheesh.
Joe in the chat says, stay around 500. F that. Getting the 50 wins. Ron said, Chuck said, we're 5-6 in the West. That's crazy. That'd be really crazy.
Do your, like, I guess not I don't want to say expectations. Does your mindset change of what this team will accomplish this season? Or are you still very realistic? Like, hey, this is a good time right now. Like, we're going to see some tough times ahead. What is your mindset?
I'm realistic from the standpoint that I'm not sure, you're going to be seeing shooting like we've seen, but they've also tonight, not everyone shot well. Guys were missing a ton of open threes. I'm looking at Monk, 2 of 8 from 3. Mitchell, 0 for 3. Davis, 0 for 4. Lyles and Metu missed both of their shots. Keegan, he was 1 of 8 overall, 0 for 4 from 3. Sabonis missed 1. I mentioned this earlier, but Fox, Huerter, and Barnes had 13 of the 15 Kings makes. So, maybe that goes down a little bit, but the offense generates so many good looks. So, no, I mean, my expectations for this team is they're going to have a great offense, and it's going to be fun to watch, and they're going to be in games because of it. The question will be, like most teams, but I really am vital for Sacramento, can you stay healthy? Sabonis has to stay on the floor. If Sabonis goes down, that's a scary thought, right? The depth is just not there for Sacramento at that spot. They have not, that's a concern for me, some of the bench stuff. But this is all concerns I already had. They've already kind of exceeded my expectations for 16 games in when it comes to the offense. And to be honest, the defense at times, I still think they are having more good moments defensively. And I think long-term, the numbers will bear that out. They'll get better. McNair and his group have to be aggressive, trying to find ways to add to this roster. But it's also a fine line, right? There's great vibes right now. You don't want to mess up with any chemistry, right? You don't want to make a tough move that all of a sudden it just changes everything within a team. So to answer your question a long way, this is a good team. They're going to be in the mix this year. It's going to be fun. And, people who are in here saying the 5 seed, you say that before the season, I'm probably going, settle down a little bit. Now it doesn't sound as ridiculous. I'm not there to predict it. I'm not there yet. But I'm looking at this team now going, they could be a playoff team. They could get in. Could they be a top 6 team? I think they can get the 6th spot. The way they're playing right now, they're going to be a fun team in the mix. I still maintain they're probably a play-in team, but we'll see.
Yeah, I like it. No, I like it. Good, realistic breakdown, Deuce Mason.
Well, Morgan's in San Francisco. She has to hit the hay. She has a quick turnaround. She'll be hosting again tomorrow night for Kings and Hawks on NBC Sports California. We will be live again after the game, of course, to talk all about that one. Shout out to everyone here for being with us tonight. Enjoy this ride. Make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe on the way out. We love you guys so much. But we gots to go.
We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to see you tomorrow. See ya.
Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. They tell you what they know. Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo, Deuce and Mo. The podcast that you know.